In this tutorial, I'm going to show how to combine multiple animations into a single file. So say you have a character that you've created and rigged to a biped skeleton, and then you start creating some animations for it, or you've got some motion capture clips. Typically, a common way to work is to work on each animation as a single max file. So say I might have a separate max file of the character walking forward. I might have another max file where I've created an idle animation, so on and so forth. Now, for a lot of game engines, what you have to do is combine all those animations into a single file, into a single sequence. Well, how do you do that? What you need to do is use the motion mixer in 3ds Max. So what you want to do is, the first thing you want to do is save out biped clips. They're called BIP files for each of your animations. So, for example, this walking animation, just select any part of the biped, go to the motion panel, and click this Save button under the biped rollout. Give it a name. In this case, it's Walk Forward, and save it out. And then do that for each of your animations. You see, in this case, I've got 4 different animations I've saved out from separate max files. And I mean, you can have as many as you'd like. So in a lot of cases, you might have 20 or 30 different animations. Once you've done that, open up your original skin character and make sure that you have no animation applied. He's just standing in his default reference pose. And then let's hide the character mesh. Again, select any part of the biped, go to the motion panel, and click on this button here called Mixer Mode. Now click this button right above it here, the Mixer button, and this will open the Motion Mixer. This is going to allow you to import and combine all your biped clips. So select the track up here, right-click and go to New Clips from Files. Browse to your folder where you've saved all your BIP files, and just select them all and click Open. Now it's going to populate this track with all your different biped clips, and as each different green bar. You can see here is the idle animation, here is one where he's in his reference pose, here's run and walk. Now these can be dragged around freely to reorder them. In a lot of cases, I like to have the reference pose right at the beginning, so I'm going to remove the reference pose clip there. Next, I'm going to move the idle animation second. Now, I want to have the walk animation after that, and then finally the run animation. The order doesn't matter. It's purely personal preference. I also like to leave a little bit of space in between each clip. It just makes the animations easier to see and work with in the timeline. Now, one thing I should point out here is that our timeline goes to 0 to 100. But in this case, you can see that my animation goes all the way to frame 175 at the end here. So let's change the timeline just to, say, 200 frames. Now, if I scrub the timeline, you can see that each animation clip plays one after another in sequence. And one thing I should point out here is that this animation right now only exists in motion mixer mode. It's not actually on the biped. And to see that, if you go back over here and turn mixer mode off and then scrub the timeline, you'll see that there's no animation applied. So how do we fix that? Well, again, turn on mixer mode again, and what we need to do is compute what's called a mix down. So go all the way up here to the track where it says BIP01, click on that, and then go to Mix, Compute Mix Down, and let's just leave all the default settings and click OK. That's going to add a new track at the bottom here called Mix Down. So click on that, then right-click and select Copy to Biped. Now we can close this window, turn off Mixer Mode, and you'll see down here in the timeline, all those keyframes have been copied to the biped. And you can see the gaps here where each animation occurs. So you've got your reference pose, then the idle animation, then the walking animation, and finally the running animation. All have been combined into a single file, And you can save this file then, and your character is ready to export, and all your animations will be included in a single sequence. So I hope this is useful, and I'll see you next time.